been around these, I know how they get out. I grab me a knife and a fork, get my blanket, put my blanket over my eyes to like they right up under here.
Snoop Dogg just spilled some jaw-dropping stories about the wildest after-parties in 90s rap, and trust me, this stuff is unreal. We're talking chaos on private jets, showdowns in fancy mansions, and hotel parties that could have turned into full-blown block wars. And wait until you hear about his last moments with Tupac. This man didn't hold a single thing back. Let's rewind to the early Death Row Records era, when the after parties were just as legendary as the tracks they dropped. Picture this: mansions glowing with neon lights, Bentleys stacked out front.
Warren G go to a party with Dr. Dre and them and take our cassette tape and plays it when the music cut off and rock the house. So Saturday night, Dr. Dre calling with Warren G on the phone.
Bottles popping non-stop, and every celeb you could name walking through those doors. But what made these nights truly unforgettable wasn't just the glitz, it was the mix of people inside. In his 2022 Drink Champs interview, Snoop revealed that these weren't your average hip-hop parties. Nah, these were gatherings where the music industry and the streets collided under one roof. You had CEOs, rappers, producers, and real gang figures all vibing together. He said Death Row's business side rolled deep with the Bloods. Suge Knight was the boss, and his crew handled the muscle. Meanwhile, the artist side, mostly Crips, repping their set proudly. The fact that both sides could coexist at all showed how electric that moment in hip-hop really was. Snoop broke down how, after a certain point in the night, nobody even cared where you were from.
Days, a lot of misunderstanding, miscommunication, but it got fixed fast because I'm dealing with a bunch of real guys, real gang members, real official people that have crossed paths before behind the wall and on the streets. So it was a mutual respect once we all realized that we was playing for one team.
He'd be chilling in blood territory with homies like Top Cat, L-Dog, and Kate Hare, real ones who became true friends. His Crip homies used to ask questions like, "Yo, what's going on?" But that was the magic of Death Row. It was dangerous, real, and somehow peaceful at the same time. According to Snoop's reflections shared later, Death Row wasn't about pretending. It was about raw truth, loyalty, and energy that could never be recreated again. Artists at Death Row could finally be themselves. No faking, no acting tough just for show. They dressed how they wanted, rapped how they lived, and let loose like never before. But that same freedom came with danger too. It was a world dripping in money, power, and madness. Looking back, Snoop admitted those times were wild fun while they lasted, but said the good vibes eventually turned dark. What started as brotherhood and creativity slowly slid into tension and conflict. Now, this next story sounds like straight-up movie material. Snoop once broke down one of the craziest moments from the Chronic Tour back in 1992 with Run DMC and the Ghetto Boys. And it went totally off the rails. What was supposed to be a smooth 7-day promo run turned into chaos after gang rivalries within the entourage exploded. The shows were fire, but the real drama hit when everyone went back to the hotels and started hitting that infamous Crip gin. That strong blue drink cats would take straight to the head. Things got heated fast. By the last night, the after party went from hype to mayhem. Fights broke out everywhere. Police rolled in heavy, surrounding the entire hotel as reports of brawls started flooding in. According to Snoop, Suge Knight quickly warned everyone that the place was about to get locked down. What happened next sounded like a full-on action scene. Snoop, Dre, and Suge literally jumped out a back window, snatched a rental car, dashed across the freeway on foot, and escaped by private jet. That's how wild those 90s after parties were. One minute you're celebrating a hit tour, and the next, you're ducking cops through hotel windows. Unreal. But not every party story was all chaos. Some moments actually changed hip-hop forever. Snoop told the story of Dre's bachelor party in 1991, and this one's legendary. Warren G pulled up with his stepbrother Dr. Dre, just trying to vibe. When the music started running low, Warren slid in a demo tape from his crew. Dre's ears perked up instantly. He turned to Warren and asked, "Who is this?" That one random moment, one cassette at one wild party, ended up being the spark that got Snoop signed to Death Row Records. That single decision shaped hip-hop history forever. But not every party night ended with success. Some had darker turns. According to accounts from hip-hop historians, after leaving a party in November 1989, the DOC, a close collaborator and ghostwriter for Dre and NWA, got into a terrible car crash on Ventura Highway while under the influence. The crash left him severely injured, and his vocal cords were permanently damaged. That one tragic moment ended his rapping career for good. Dre reportedly told him, "They think you're the king right now." It was a chilling reminder that the same wild lifestyle that built legends could also take everything away in one night.
Me and Dr. Dre came out and did G-Thing. The lowrider,
Right.
just the way. It's like, I never done this before. Like, that was the first time I ever, like, just stood and just was like,
Yeah.
like, I dreamed of that
Did
moment.
you feel accomplished?
I dreamed of that moment. Like, that's a moment that if you win a championship, if you on stage performing in front of millions of people.
Dre once told the DOC, "You should go out like that," after his crash. A cold line that showed just how wild and reckless those early days really were. Back then, Dre's crew lived fast. Non-stop parties, bottles everywhere, nights that didn't end till sunrise. The line between fun and danger.
They love like, Snoop, it's Pac, Snoop. Pac have a cigar, and he split that and gut it, and he fill it up with weed. I'm like, what this doing? And he licked that and light it. I'm like, what's that, cuz? He said, oh, it's a Philly blunt. And you wanna hit it? Boom. I hit that motherfucker, damn near blow my whole chest out. But it's
Blurred completely. According to reports, Death Row threw a private bash at LA's El Rey Theater on March 13th, 1995, and things got ugly real fast. Kelly Jamison, a known member of the Rollin' 60s Crips, was brutally attacked by several Bloods allegedly tied to Suge Knight's camp. That beatdown sent shockwaves through the city. It wasn't just another fight. It deepened the Blood and Crip tensions that already ran hot. These weren't regular industry parties. They were straight extensions of the streets where fame and danger shared the same dance floor. You could be partying with movie stars one minute and ducking from real-life gang beefs the next. Then came one of the most tragic nights in hip-hop's party history, Jermaine Dupri's birthday bash at Atlanta's Platinum House on September 24th, 1995. What should have been a celebration turned into chaos when the East Coast-West Coast feud exploded in the middle of the party. Death Row's entourage clashed hard with Bad Boy affiliates, and the tension was thick. Suge Knight's close friend, Jake, Big Jake.
I had a homegirl named Samora. She was like the bud lady. And she was working on the movie, Poetic Justice. And it was a rap party. And I didn't even know what the rap party was. I thought it meant was gonna be there rapping.
Right, yeah.
So she was like, I'm gonna invite you to the rap party.
R.A.P. party.
Fuck it,
like,
like, fuck it, I got rap.
Ready.
Rap my.
Robles, a Death Row bodyguard, was shot and killed outside the club that night. Earlier inside, a heated argument broke out after a Death Row member allegedly beat a Bad Boy staffer who refused to give up Puff Daddy's address. It was wild and tragic all at once. What started as a birthday party ended with a life lost and the East-West rivalry spiraling out of control. But not every story from those years ended in violence. Some moments showed the pure glory of hip-hop at its peak. Snoop told Big Boy about one unforgettable night when Death Row took over the Soul Train Awards. They were about to perform Nothing But a G-Thing live for the first time, and the setup was pure fire. A lowrider creeping out onto the stage in slow motion while the entire world watched. The crowd was packed with legends. Bobby Brown, Whitney Houston, Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, all staring in awe. In 1993, R&B still ruled the charts, but when Death Row hit that stage, every single black celebrity in the audience stood up and cheered. It wasn't just a performance, it was a cultural takeover, a moment when West Coast rap officially announced, "We're here, and we run this." Then suddenly, the music stopped. Total silence hit the room. The announcer's voice echoed, "And now, our national anthem." That was the moment that changed everything. Right there, a worldwide West Coast wave was born. From LA to London, everybody was flashing the W and shouting about Death Row. That single performance turned a record label into a global movement. And just when you think the stories can't get any wilder, here comes one straight out of 1993. The legendary rap party for the movie Poetic Justice. According to Snoop, he didn't even know what a rap party meant at first. He thought it was a rap party. So of course, he showed up ready to grab the mic and drop bars. Imagine that. The spot was loaded with stars, actors, rappers, and Hollywood heavyweights everywhere. You had Michael Rappaport, Ricky Harris, and director John Singleton himself all in the building. According to Snoop's 2023 interview, Ricky Harris was holding it down by the DJ booth when he spotted Snoop walking in. Knowing his cousin could spit fire, Ricky leaned over and told the DJ, "Put on some beats, let my cousin get on the mic." What happened next? Pure hip-hop history in the making. The energy shifted instantly. The crowd formed a circle as Snoop and Tupac stepped up, trading verses back and forth. 4 or 5 rounds of straight lyrical heat. It wasn't just a freestyle. It was a moment where two icons unknowingly stamped their bond in music forever. John Singleton and the rest of the Hollywood execs were standing there, jaws dropped, watching two future legends duel with nothing but skill and respect. Snoop came with that smooth, laid-back gangster flow, while Pac brought raw passion and intensity that hit you right in the chest. Every line sparked louder cheers. Every punchline set the room off. It was tension, respect, and pure artistry all wrapped into one electric moment. When the battle wrapped up, the energy didn't fade. It shifted. Snoop said they stepped outside to talk it out, just cooling down after lighting up the room. Big Boy later recalled how Laylaw from Above the Law was there and made the proper introductions. That's when Tupac reached into his pocket, pulled out a cigar, and lit it up with a grin, like a boss move that sealed their friendship right there. That night wasn't just a party. It was the start of a brotherhood that would define an era.
We was in New York,
Oh, yeah.
and it had happened. New York, they shot at me and did all kinds to me, like just the worst you could think of. And I forgave them. And went and did an interview and was asked, how do I feel about Puffy and Biggie? And I was like, I want to do some music with them. And that just rubbed Cuz the wrong way, like, them niggas tried to kill me.
That night, Tupac handed Snoop his first ever blunt, no lie. Before that, Snoop was all about the zigzags, but Pac pulled out a Philly blunt and said, "Try this." And just like that, a rap battle turned into a smoke session that bonded two future legends for life. That one spark kicked off a brotherhood that would change both their worlds forever. According to Snoop's own words, that same bond would later lead him to tell Suge Knight, go get Pac out of prison and sign him to death row. Imagine that, the entire Death Row Tupac era tracing back to one spontaneous moment at the Poetic Justice Party. That's history in motion right there. But now let's jump to the night that flipped hip-hop on his head, the 1995 Source Awards in New York. That wasn't just an award show, it was a battleground dressed up in tuxedos. The tension in that room was heavy before a single word was said. And then Suge Knight took the mic and dropped his now infamous line about artists who don't want their producer all up in the videos. The crowd went silent, then restless. Snoop was right there beside him, backing up his CEO like a soldier. According to Breakfast Club interview footage, you could feel it. Brooklyn wasn't feeling him, Queens wasn't feeling him, the entire East Coast energy was off. The separation was thick in the air. After the show, when Snoop and the crew tried to leave, the crowd swarmed his car. Only mutual respect from local gang members kept things from turning ugly that night. The Source Awards didn't just hand out trophies, it lit the fuse for one of hip-hop's deadliest rivalries ever. Then came the mid-90s MTV Award after-parties, pure madness on another level. Snoop described scenes straight out of a movie, lavish rooms, champagne everywhere, wild fashion, and even women walking around on leashes. It was a wild twist on the doggy-dog image, a flashy show of dominance and power that screamed that Death Row was untouchable. In the same Drink Champs interview, Snoop laughed about how he once introduced Tupac to a certain Hollywood movie star's side piece at one of these parties, only for Pac to go after her himself. It was playful competition mixed with wild confidence, the kind of energy that defined every industry function back then. And the groupie scene, totally different vibe from later years. In a Noisy video, Snoop broke it down. The encounters back then were organic, real, and raw. You'd meet women at hotel lobbies, at after parties, or just rolling through the clubs. Everything happened naturally, fueled by that laid-back player culture of the 90s. In 1994, Death Row even threw a massive premiere party in New York for Snoop's short film, Murder Was the Case. According to old school clips floating around on Instagram, the spot was packed wall to wall with rappers, actors, hustlers, and stars, all celebrating the Dogfather's rise. It wasn't just a party, it was another legendary chapter in the untamed golden era of hip-hop. That Murder Was the Case party went down right in the middle of the rising East-West Coast beef, making it one of the boldest moves in Death Row's history. Throwing a full-blown celebration in New York, enemy territory at the time, was nothing short of fearless. The event doubled as a networking hotspot where West Coast icons mixed with New York rap heavyweights, all while silent tension filled the room. You could feel it, everyone vibing, but eyes watching, nerves tight, knowing the smallest spark could set everything off. Still, they showed up because the music and the movement were too powerful to ignore. Now, here's a party story with a wild twist. It wasn't about champagne or fame, it was about getting checked. According to reports on X from Popbase, legendary singer Dionne Warwick pulled off one of the boldest interventions in hip-hop history. She hosted a 7 a.m. meeting at her home, calling out Snoop and other rappers for using disrespectful language toward women in their lyrics. And she didn't sugarcoat a thing. She planned that meeting early, on purpose, to catch them off guard. According to Daily Loud's reporting, Snoop and the rest was so nervous about disappointing her that they showed up 8 minutes early by 7:52 sharp. Think about that for a second. These were hardcore rappers, guys who had lived through shootouts, police raids, label wars, and street beef. But when Dionne Warwick said, "Be here at 7," they showed up like kids heading to detention. That's the kind of power and respect she commanded. Snoop later told Big Boy off-air about another tense moment that showed how fragile peace could be, even among friends. It happened at a beach hangout. Everybody was there. Corrupt, Nate Dogg, Tupac, the Outlaws, even MC Hammer. The vibe started chill, music bumping, sun out, everyone relaxing, but it turned heated fast. Tupac had recently laid down a new rule almost, military style, about who could talk to who within the crew, but not everybody got the memo. So when Corrupt and Pac started exchanging words, things got real tense. According to Snoop's recollection, Tupac snapped and threatened to have the Outlaws rough up Corrupt right there on the sand. The Outlaws stood behind Pac, ready to move at a moment's notice. It was one of those moments that showed how serious things had gotten. Brothers in the same circle, loyal to the same label, but the energy was just that intense. One wrong word, one wrong look, and it could all explode. Even Paradise couldn't cool down the fire burning between some of hip-hop's biggest names.
So Ricky Harris, he tell the DJ to put something on. He yeah, I got my little cousin Snoop Dogg in the house. We'll come up here and rap. Before he could give me the mic, Tupac grabbed the mic.
Yeah, man.
He grabbed the mic and started rapping. He'd say his little verse.
You got the mic.
He take it back. We like rapping at each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like sort of kind of aggressive. But it ain't like no disrespectful shit, just like aggression. He's aggressive and I'm gangster.
Snoop and Nate Dogg found themselves stuck right in the middle of that beach showdown, unsure which way things would go. The tension was boiling, and it was MC Hammer of all people who had to step in and cool everybody down. That moment on the beach exposed the cracks that were starting to form inside Death Row. Even under the blazing sun, surrounded by ocean waves, the vibe couldn't hide the truth. There was serious tension building between brothers who used to ride for each other. But what came next, that's the moment that still haunts Snoop to this day, the flight that ruined everything. Things were good for a while, but one interview flipped the entire dynamic between him and Tupac. Snoop was in New York when Angie Martinez asked him about Puffy and Biggie, the same dudes Death Row was beefing with at the height of the East-West War. Snoop, being honest and genuine, said he liked them, that he respected their music, and even wanted to work with them someday. But Pac didn't see it like that. In his mind, those were the same guys who'd set him up and shot him, his enemies. So hearing his own brother talk about making songs with him hit him deep. The tension was instant and heavy. According to Snoop's interviews, the day after that conversation aired, they were all set to fly back to LA on a private jet. Normally, that plane was packed. Snoop, his security, Suge Knight, and a couple of close homies. But this time, when they arrived at the airport, everything felt off. Suge told Snoop's security they weren't coming.
He ordered them to take a regular commercial flight instead. Snoop's crew tried to convince him to skip that private flight and just roll with them. They said, "Come on with us, dog." But Snoop made a different call. He decided to face whatever was waiting for him head on. Think about that for a second. A man choosing to step onto a private plane, 5.5 hours in the air, completely surrounded by people he wasn't sure he could trust, and without a single bodyguard watching his back. According to Snoop's own chilling recollection, he walked straight to the back of that plane. He grabbed a blanket, picked up a knife and fork from the food tray, and sat down with his back against the wall, eyes open, nerves steady, heart cold. He pulled the blanket up to his face, hiding the knife beneath it, ready for whatever might happen. For 5.5 hours, he sat in silence. Nobody spoke, nobody moved on him. It was just quiet, heavy, suffocating quiet. Snoop said he was ready. If anyone came at him, he wasn't going out easy. If he was dying that night, somebody was going with him. That flight felt like forever. When they finally landed in LA, 2 Rolls Royces were waiting right on the runway. Everyone else got off the plane first. Pac, Suge, the crew. Then Snoop stood up, walked down those stairs slow, and locked eyes with Tupac one last time. According to Snoop's emotional account, he looked at Pac and said something to him. His last words face to face. Pac just stared back, silent, no nod, no response. Then he turned around, climbed into his car, and drove off. That was it. Pac was headed to Vegas for the Mike Tyson fight that weekend. The next time Snoop saw him, he wasn't alive and smiling. He was in a hospital bed, fighting for his life. Snoop remembered he was at Warren G's house when the news broke. They were just chilling, playing video games, when suddenly the phone started lighting up, pages buzzing non-stop. The messages all said the same heartbreaking thing. Pac got shot. The music, the fame, the parties, none of it mattered in that moment. That was the instant Snoop knew the golden era was over, and nothing would ever be the same. They turned on the TV, and there it was, Suge Knight's BMW sitting under the Vegas lights, wrapped in yellow tape, news helicopters circling above. The whole world froze. According to Snoop, he immediately called Suge personally to find out what really happened. Suge's voice on the other end sounded calm, almost reassuring. He told Snoop, "They just grazed me in the head. My boy's been hit, but he's gonna pull through. Come on out here, dog." That gave Snoop hope. Without hesitation, he jumped on the freeway and sped straight to Las Vegas. But when he arrived at the hospital, the scene hit him like a ton of bricks. Civil rights leader Jesse Jackson was there. Pac's mom, Fateful Shakur, was there too. Strong, composed, but clearly broken inside. She pulled Snoop aside quietly and said, "You gotta be strong." That's when Snoop knew it was worse than he imagined. Snoop walked into Pac's hospital room, and it was nothing like he'd ever seen before. Machines beeping, doctors whispering, family praying. It was pure heartbreak. He got right next to Pac's bed, leaned in close, and started talking to him softly. He told him, "I love you. I hope I didn't make you mad with the stuff I said. I was just trying to do what I thought was right." His voice cracked, but he kept talking, hoping Pac could hear him through the haze. When he stepped out of that room, everything hit him all at once. Snoop walked straight into the bathroom and completely broke down. He said in interviews that he threw up, collapsed on the floor, and just laid there, shattered, emotionally wrecked. And then something unbelievable happened. Fateful Shakur, in the middle of her worst nightmare, came into that bathroom. She found Snoop on the floor, picked him up, cleaned him off, and told him to get himself together. Even as she was losing her son, she had the strength to comfort someone else. That's how powerful that woman was. But Death Row's story didn't end there. It only got darker. Let me tell you about one of the wildest, most disturbing party stories ever linked to the label. According to reports tied to Suge Knight and covered in hip-hop media, during a notorious Death Row Christmas party, the East-West beef hit a horrific new low. Tensions with Bad Boy Records were already through the roof, and that night things got out of hand. A Bad Boy affiliate was allegedly humiliated in front of the crowd, forced to drink urine as a form of retaliation during the height of the feud. It was a shocking moment that showed how extreme the rivalry had become by the mid-90s. What was supposed to be a holiday celebration turned into something twisted, a raw display of how toxic and dangerous the hip-hop scene had gotten by the mid-90s.
It was some other cuz. And as soon as I walked out of there, I went in the bathroom and I threw up. Just laid on the floor for like 30 minutes. His mama came in there and cleaned me up. His mama came in there and cleaned me up and got me back right. Like, I'm like, she is a hell of a lady.
According to old school Reddit threads and documented accounts from that era, Snoop made his next big move, signing with No Limit Records and heading down to New Orleans for safety. With death threats coming from all sides, the South became his fresh start. As Snoop later explained on Drink Champs, Master P's world was different. It wasn't about chaos, it was about building empires. The No Limit events weren't fueled by drama or danger. They were about smart money moves. Master P focused on giving his artists real rewards. Houses, cars, and fat bank accounts. It was business over beef, wealth over wildness. After years of surviving tension and paranoia on the West Coast, Snoop finally found peace in structure and strategy. When Snoop talked about this on the Joe Rogan Experience, episode number 1733, he laughed, reflecting on how far he'd come, from the madness of death row to the calm of today. He said back then it was nonstop chaos. Guns, rivalries, parties that could explode at any second. But now, he's chill, grounded, living the life of someone who's seen it all and learned from it. The 90s were wild, dangerous, and unforgettable. But Snoop came out of it alive and legendary. He survived the fights, the feuds, and the madness. And now he's one of the few who can tell those stories firsthand. From the Chronic Tour Hotel Escape to that Poetic Justice freestyle where he first connected with Tupac, from the Source Awards tension to that 5-hour private flight where he sat ready with a knife and fork, Snoop lived through every beat of hip-hop history. So there it is, fam. The untold truth behind the craziest after-parties in rap history. What do you think of Snoop's revelations? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe, share, and like this video for more real deal hip-hop stories. Turn those notifications on. You don't want to miss what's coming next.